Most of the armed forces actually, whenever they fight a war, they look at the lessons they've learned from that war. Then they try to incorporate those lessons into that system. So what they're doing is actually preparing to fight the previous war, the war which is already over. And there's no war which repeats itself. It's a different war you got to prepare yourself. In the Indian Armed Forces, now we are actually trying to fight a future kind of a warfare. And I've been saying that to win future wars, you'll have to fight with tomorrow's technology today. Having said that, I must also confess that predicting future is perilous to say the least, is rather difficult. And war is an enterprise which is riddled with uncertainties. And to accurately predict the outcome of even the smallest of conflict or a duel or combat is rather difficult. It's more so because profession of arm is slightly different from other professions. If in other professions, if there's a lawyer, he's practicing every day, he goes to the court. If there's a surgeon, he's practicing surgery. If there's an architect, he's practicing every day. So does the engineer. Soldiers don't fight every day. What do? They're all supposed to think, contemplate as to how warfare will unfold in the future, how they got to equip themselves, how they got to train themselves. So in some manner, we had done this, and this is very important. We have to get it right actually, because when the time comes, we have to do it all correctly. Because as we have been saying that they will run us up in war, and we have to get it right. So the thought process has to be right, our equipping has to be right, our organizations have to be right, our doctrines have to be right for that war. We don't practice it every day. We may train ourselves, and we may war game these things. So what have we been doing about it? You must have heard. We've done this future warfare courses, number of them, 2-3 of them, and in this we have tried to involve the academia so that you people also understand how are we thinking, how we're going to fight in future. Recently we had done a Ran Samvad, a seminar on war and warfare, commentaries on war and warfare in Mao, in which again we have invited the industry, we had invited the academia to be part of our thought process. We are planning to use a number of policies, written policies, on a number of initiatives like emerging kind of technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. A technology perspective roadmap has already been issued. We have revised a number of our war fighting doctrines, whether it is space, cyber, multi-domain operations, amphibious operations, special forces, airborne operations, to give you an insight as to how we want to fight, the doctrinal part. A number of structural changes in our organizations are on the anvil to prepare ourselves for multi-domain operations. And you must have often heard in the media, the Army Chief actually talking about Ashni platoons, Agniband regiments, and such kind of organizations. This is in addition to IBGs, which you had earlier, which we are again trying to resurrect that particular concept. And we are also laying a foundation to move from what I say is net-centric warfare to data-centric kind of warfare. That roadmap for that, for the services, has been laid down along with responsibilities. As far as the brainstorming session is concerned, let's reflect a little bit on last year's some decisions and the progress on that. So there was one point that there is a need to increase the defense R&D budget to almost about 2.5%. Well, that really hasn't happened, but there are a number of other initiatives which have been taken. So the government has launched a research, development and innovation RDI scheme with almost a corpus of 1 lakh crore. The DRDO's budget has seen, R&D budget has seen almost a 12.4% increase to almost about 26,800 crores. A sanction of additional grant of 500 crores for deep technology and cutting edge research products under the TDF scheme has been sanctioned. And Aditi scheme has enhanced its limits to about 25 crores. So we have made some progress, not exactly 2.5% on R&D as per the GDP is concerned. Another point was that there should be some kind of a procedural clarity on allocation of R&D budget to the industry. So in this, I think the DRDO has already come up with a SOP based on which the industry seeking R&D funds are scrutinized and allocated in a transparent kind of process. Further deliberation will be done into this particular session. Fourth One more point was to provide a level playing field to the domestic and private industry compared to Indian DPSUs and OEMs, foreign OEMs. So large number of these initiatives have now been incorporated in the DPM 2025, which has been released recently. I'll just give a few examples of it. The NOCs from DPSUs prior to engaging in open competitive procurement, that has been dispensed with. So that should be a good news for all of you. Relaxed development contract norms have been enunciated. Assured order guarantees to up to 5 years for domestic vendors are there. Decentralized financial powers and relaxed liquidity damages instructions are there as part of this. There was one more suggestion that they need to include a clause for advance payments under revenue procurements under the DPM. DPM 2025 incorporates provisions for supporting finance options. There was one more initiative regarding MSME specific eligibility, turnover or experience criteria for procurements that has to be built into tenders. In this, recommendations are being considered in the DAP revision, and self-certification of TRL levels of MSMEs, startups is also being considered. One more suggestion which Mr. Bhatia had referred to, that one was about competency mapping, that we should all know as to what we are doing in India. So that particular thing has been done, and that competency mapping software has been developed, and probably we'll be releasing it today during this brainstorming session. I briefly mentioned some of the reforms which we have done as far as DPM 2025 is concerned, which were related to what points were raised during the brainstorming session. But there are some more initiatives which are part of this DPM. Maybe I'll just touch upon a few of them. So there is the introduction of a 15% growth provision in repair/refit contracts, allowing up to 15% extra scope for unseen maintenance works on aerial and naval platforms. So limited tendering has been permitted for highly specialized goods up to 50 lakhs. And in special cases beyond this threshold, improving procurement speed, at least in niche products. Proprietary article certificate provisions have been revised, with validity revised to 2 years, and parallel market exploration that make it mandatory to identify alternate sources. Enhanced delegation of financial powers to field and lower formations. CFAs can now grant delivery extensions and make quicker decisions at their level. So all this is part of and a separate chapter has been added on Atmanirbharta, and innovation has been added to lay emphasis on promoting self-reliance and encouraging joint participation of services, DPSUs, industry, startups and MSMEs. We expect a bit of nationalism and patriotism in your profit-driven endeavors. I'm given to understand, actually, the army was telling me that they've been scouting around for 5th and 6th EP procurements. Most of the people have overpromised things and they fail to deliver in that time frame. Now this is unacceptable. Defense reforms is not a one-way street. Industry will have to be truthful about their capabilities to us. You can't leave us in a lurch. You sign a contract and you don't deliver at that particular time, it's a capability that is being lost. You have to be truthful about your indigenous capabilities. There could be security related issues. A lot of industries say, okay, this is 70% indigenous, but actually if you find out, it is not. So you have to be truthful in this, because it is related to its questioning matters of security. You will have to be cost competitive. Cost competitive is not for selling to the Indian Armed Forces. You have to be cost competitive so that you can compete in the foreign market. You can't have products which are overpriced, and you will have to deliver things on time. Today's Ops Sindoor was mentioned. Today's this brainstorming session is being held in the backdrop of Ops Sindoor. Ops Sindoor, like Bhatia said, that it's validated a number of India's products and weapon systems, and their performance also has contributed to the success of this particular mission. You all know that I've been saying time and again that this was a different kind of war, different kind of operation, maybe short, but gives you glimpses as to what lies in future. That's for the industry to take lessons from it. So it's kind of a non-contact warfare in which kinetic and non-kinetic was mixed. It was multi-domain, it was networked, digitized, and also intelligent. Again, post Sindoor, we've done a couple of exercises for EW and drones, and it's not that we have done this exercise alone. We have done it with help of DPSUs and private industry also. So that because we understand the correlation between industry and fighting a war, because it's not only prior to fighting a war that we need to develop our capabilities, but during a war we may have to tweak some kind of a changes in the equipment which we hold, especially electronic warfare, drones, such kind of equipment. So we did incorporate the industry into this exercises.